Hello there, everyone. Back again after a little bit of a while off. I've been writing, but I haven't been recording anything. And so now I'm back on to record something that I've written called Poplars in November. It is my one and only remembrance poem I write this year. I generally just write one remembrance poem a year. Sometimes, in fact, sometimes I give it a miss. Um, I kind of write about conflict a lot anyway, so that's remembrance, isn't it? So yeah, this is my one and only. There's enough remembrance around for us not to get clogged down with endless poetry. There's enough poetry been written about remembrance. Maybe not enough real remembrance. I don't know. Anyway, so I've written this called Poplars in November. I originally wanted just to call it Poplars, but I thought, no, I'll make it a bit more obvious than that. So I've called it Poplars in November, and I shall read it to you now. Poplars in November. Their branches proud above the town, like men in rank, their feet in mud. Skyward facing, they can't look down, their roots fixed in this land of blood. And onward over fields and seas, men wrenched their hearts too far from home. Mere saplings who would not make trees, but from whose seed a nation's grown. Across the green, the cenotaph, its lonely stone, rain-soaked and grey, like bone strewn in the aftermath of one more wasteful, bloody day. And still the poplars stoic stand, to weave their roots in ancient soil, as did those who left their land, that we may live through their dark toil. Poplars in November. My one remembrance poem of 2024. I was in Crondall village about a week ago. It's a little village in Surrey or Hampshire. It's on the borders. I can't remember that. It's a bit fadey there. It's like Church Crookham, so it's Hampshire, Surrey borders. I have a feeling it's Surrey, but it doesn't matter. It might be Hampshire. It's Farnham, so yeah, that would make it Surrey. Sorry, what am I going on about? Yes, and it's a beautiful little English village, a typical English village. You know, a green cricket pitch, Church of England school, cemetery, cenotaph, little memorial next to the cemetery. And it's just a beautiful little place. And actually, it's a village in which one of the last serving field marshals of the British Army lived until he died just a few years ago. Yeah, interesting bit of useless knowledge. And it just seemed to me a typical kind of village that people might hold in their mind of how England has once looked and still looks in parts. But it's a typical place that people might think of. People who are not from England might think of it as, kind of a. And on a cricket pitch, there's a line of poplars. The poplars are often planted just in one long line, and it's right against the cricket pitch, and it's right on the edge of the town. So it's the last thing on the town before you're out into the fields, and it's beautiful. Looks over the cricket pitch, into the churchyard, across the church, into the village, across the pub. Stunning, and it just and they look like a line of soldiers there, just like stoic, standing there, looking over the village for all those years, and now they're the highest thing in the village, and it just reminds. Sometimes I think, I was just thinking that could be the men who've gone and never came back, and somehow they're still there. They're still there, They're just there. These poplars are just there. They don't do anything. They're there, and they're right on the edge of the town, and they're looking over. But they stand for something, don't they? In fact, poplars were planted as a windbreak. So you could say they're there as a defence for the town. Like the men were there. The difference being the men left and many never came back. They left to defend. However you look at it. We're not always right in our wars, are we? and wars aren't always right. We're not always right in them, and they are not always right. But we usually trying to manipulate it all so it looks like we did it in defence, and certainly in most wars we have. In some wars, especially recent wars, there's been a deal of exploitative behaviour by governments that's exploited its armies and its young men. Again, we're here, aren't we? With old men sending young men off to war, young men and women off to war. The old men are doing it again. Look at it. We've got them in the Middle East. The old men slaughtering their own people, slaughtering their people. In eastern parts of Europe, we've got old men sending young men to war again. All over the world, in Africa, wars that we don't hear about that are ongoing. If you're interested, and the borders of the tri-border areas of the Congo and Sudan and Uganda, wars have been raging there for years and years and years. People die. What's it all about? It's always the same, isn't it? It's always young people dying. And this horrible year we've just been through and we're still in, it's not over. Let's not forget all the civilians who've died. Not just died, but been slaughtered. Slaughtered in the name of what? Largely territorial wars, the big ones that are going on at the moment. Pointless, useless wars. Let's not get into the politics of it, but people being slaughtered. I have friends in Israel, Lebanon, in Syria, in Afghanistan, all over the Middle East, in fact, and in areas of Africa, North Africa, of all different denominations, and they're all in areas now that are in danger. In Gaza, I knew people in Gaza. I don't know if they're still there. I don't know where they are. Friends in Beirut getting bombed now, trying to keep in touch with them, losing touch with them, not knowing where they are. Jewish friends in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, all under the gun, all under the cosh, and they're old men just carrying on with their wars. And these are my friends, different. I don't care what they believe in. They're good people. Anyway, I'm sorry I'm going on, but it just never ends, doesn't it? It goes on and on and on, and it's ridiculous. So anyway, I'll end. That's my one and only remembrance poem. Whatever you do for remembrance, and let's remember, people lose people all year round. So every day is Remembrance Day for somebody. So however you spend your Remembrance Day, I hope you manage to spend that in peace and find some solace in something, whatever it is you take solace in. And hopefully that solace isn't too lonely. But on the 11th, we'll be remembering those who've died in wars. Not only under our flag in the United Kingdom, but all those, because innocent men and women die everywhere, under every flag. Let me just say, though, that specifically in the UK, we kind of get fixated on the First World War, which is we ridiculously first refer to as the Great War, and then the Second War. But let's remember Suez, Malaya, Kenya, Aden, Oman, Northern Ireland, Afghanistan, Iraq, Sierra Leone, multiple others, little scuffles, as they might be referred to in a typically British understatement. Men and women die all the time in the name of a country, a nation, sent off by old men, old women, to go and do their work for them, dirty work for them. Let's remember them all. Okay, enough of me. Poplars in November. Take care, everyone, and look after yourselves. TTFN.